It has really been a thrill for Dee and for me to host the KSL Wright Cruise on the Rhine River with Viking and of course our great friends at Morris Murdock Travel who put it all together. This has been so much fun and we hope this video will serve as a reminder of all the good times we had together. After all, we started off in Amsterdam, we then went up the Rhine River to Germany, we spent some time in France, and we ended up in Switzerland. Some of us actually arrived in Amsterdam a day or two early so we could enjoy the sights of Amsterdam, and it was an incredible experience. Everything from flower markets, diamond cutting, the canals, it was just remarkable. And the museums are something, well, it's probably on about everybody's bucket list in the whole world. Of course, our actual river cruise began when we set foot aboard the Viking Rhine. And this is a beautiful vessel, and the crew and the people that made us feel so welcome. The Rhine River, of course, as we headed up, is one of the predominant waterways in all of Europe. And as we looked kind of over our shoulders at Amsterdam, this is really one of the most charming cities I have ever seen. Our next stop along the Rhine was at the Kinderdijk windmills. Now, we all grew up seeing these images, but for us on this cruise, to be able to walk into the windmills, to see where the family lived, just spread out amongst the mechanical aspects that are so old and virtually ancient, made of wood, it was incredible to stand at the foot of these windmills and see it actually operate. And there are so many windmills that are in such close proximity. If I remember the number, it's something like 19 of them. And then we were able to see some of the other pumping devices that are used to, again, keep the water out of this very, very low area. We had the opportunity to go up and meet with the captain and see how things worked and what things looked like up in the wheelhouse. On day 3, we all spent time in the ancient city, goes back to the Roman times, of Cologne, a major cultural center, art center, and the thing that will be indelible in my mind forever was on our regularly scheduled plan, and that was to see the cathedral, which is breathtaking. It is huge. And to stand there in this amazing edifice is something I'll never forget. I loved Cologne. It is just replete with history. As Dee and I talked to our fellow travelers throughout the voyage and throughout our time on land, we just couldn't help but hear the common denominator, how much everybody, first of all, loved the cruise in general, but also the service we received, the crew, the work of Morris Murdock, and I will tell you this, the guides that we had, they were beyond compare, so knowledgeable, thoroughly entertaining. Obviously, one of the highlights on day 4 was our visit, the shore excursion to the Marksburg Castle. This is incredibly, and it's remarkably preserved. 700-year-old hilltop castle that you could walk through. You could see how the people actually lived there, where they slept, the main chambers within the castle. It was absolutely breathtaking. I always compare it to Hollywood and what we have seen in Errol Flynn movies. It's not quite like that, and in some ways it's even more impressive. On board the Herja, we had so much great music, so many fun events. We saw glass blowing. It just went on and on. There was never a dull moment. On day 5, we all went to just a beautiful, legendary city, Heidelberg. This is a center of not only culture, but also education in Germany. And then many people, too, a little later on in the day, went on to Speyer, where there are so many amazing things to see in that city as well. I don't think anybody who went on either of these, some went on both, but either of these tours will ever forget the beauty and the incredible atmosphere that surrounds both Speyer and Heidelberg. Many people who were on this cruise had traveled significantly before, but every single one, without exception, said this was the tightest group that ever been with us. They exchanged more emails and numbers. We celebrated one another's birthdays and anniversaries. This truly was a joy. On day 6, everything up to this point had been in the Netherlands or in Germany, but we headed for Strasbourg, and this is where we entered France. And it was interesting to see a little bit of the change. Of course, the language changed as we entered this area, which is so beautiful. And when you go into almost any of these ancient cities that have such an incredible legacy, you cannot miss the cathedral. In this case, the Strasbourg Cathedral was breathtaking. Many people know how much I love books, and there was something just magical when we went into that big courtyard and saw the statue of Gutenberg. Everybody knows the Gutenberg Bible. There were so many other things as we walked up and down the streets and just enjoyed the food, the flavor, the color of beautiful Strasbourg. No matter where we were on this cruise or whether we were in Amsterdam, it is an amazing experience of water. And before the locks were placed on the Rhine, we heard story after story of the flooding and different things that occurred. But now with the locks, it's incredible what they have done. And we passed through quite a few locks, and that was always explained very clearly to us and actually made an event when we went through the lock by the staff on board our Viking cruise. On day 7, we had all kinds of amazing opportunities on the cruise, and almost to the point where you couldn't do everything. Many people chose to go on the World War II Museum and Memorial Tour, and this had included everything from battle sites to a little bit about Audie Murphy, who is, of course, such a decorated hero in the United States, and also a movie star. Some went to the medieval village of Colmar, where Monsieur Bertoldi, a sculptor who actually designed the Statue of Liberty, is so well known. Incredible sculptures. This had some real storybook charm. The other opportunity that we had was to go to the Black Forest and to take just a gorgeous, gorgeous ride up into those mountains. And my wife Dee looked over at me and said, I don't think I've ever been on a more beautiful drive than what we experienced in the Black Forest. And then up at the top, the chance to see cuckoo clocks being made.
These two on the edge and these two in the middle. Is it this one? You put them together. Wow.
And probably most important, the Black Forest cake.
Hey everybody, this is Radim, your program director, and I just want to say thank you very much for being a great audience. The whole crew of this ship have tremendously enjoyed you, and we want to wish you all a safe trip back home, and please come back to Europe. There are still a lot of places you should go and see and visit. And well, as they would say in the Netherlands, where we started, farewell. In Germany, auf Wiedersehen. In France, au revoir, and in Switzerland you can choose whichever language because they speak French, German, Italian. So arrivederci, let me say. Safe trip to all of you. Take care.
After the official river cruise came to a conclusion, many of us opted to spend a little more time in Switzerland. For me, this was important because of some family heritage. We enjoyed a panoramic bus tour, of course, of Basel, which I mentioned, and we also admired some of the incredible history and the architecture. We traveled to Lucerne, enjoying that medieval town set on a beautiful lake. On the very last part of the extended tour in Switzerland, we had the chance to really visit Zurich with a city tour. Our guide showed us some of the top attractions, the ferry ride over Lake Zurich. There was a cable car that took everyone to a spectacular viewpoint. Everyone loves chocolate, of course, and we topped off our tour with a stop at a chocolate shop. It was just an amazing day, and with all the chocolate, it certainly, and the streusel and everything else, it was a sweet trip. This has truly been an amazing experience for us. We want to thank the people of Morris Murdock Travel who worked so hard to put this together and make it so special. We also, of course, want to thank our crew on Viking. This has been an amazing ship with an amazing crew. But most of all, to all of you. You have made this the experience of a lifetime for Dee and for me. Thank you so much. And from both of us, say it, Auf Wiedersehen.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, Auf Wiedersehen.